Le shift.
The Honourable Leader of the Opposition
reached out to reassure him on the subject. That might have been something to do 2 years ago. 2 years ago. 2 years ago, in July of 2021, the government had a CSIS document showing that an agent for the dictatorship in Beijing was arranging to sanction and punish the family of a Canadian MP because of how he voted on the floor of the House of Commons. And yet for 2 years, this Prime Minister's government kept that agent accredited with diplomatic immunity, allowing him to abuse countless other Canadians of Chinese origin. How can we believe anything he says about protecting our national interests?
The Right Honourable Prime Minister.
Mr. Speaker, that's simply not true. It's actually irresponsible to suggest that any government might sit on a matter of such seriousness. Based on briefings that I received following yesterday's story, I know that steps have been taken to protect members when they could be in the spotlight of foreign actors because of the legitimate work they do in this place. And our security agencies will continue to independently do this important work, and I have indeed followed up directly with the member for Halton Hills to reassure him on this.
The Honourable Leader of the Opposition.
You can forgive the member for Halton Welland for not feeling reassured. Nobody should feel reassured. Prime Minister says my question was false. What was false in it? We know there was a July 2021 document, 2 years ago, showing that an agent for the dictatorship in Beijing was threatening the family of a Canadian MP because he had stood up for human rights on the floor of this House of Commons. Now, normally that would be a criminal offense for anyone to do, but this individual has immunity granted by this government. Has the Prime Minister taken away that immunity and kicked the diplomat out of Canada? Yes or no?
The Right Honourable Prime Minister.
Mr. Speaker, I think outside of this House where there is extraordinary partisanship and sometimes personal attacks, I think most Canadians understand that no government of any stripe would see a direct threat on a member of this Parliament and their family and sit on it and not ensure anything was acted. That's simply unworthy of anyone sitting in this House to make those kinds of accusations. I can assure the members opposite that we continue to take any threats seriously.
Absolutely.
The Honourable Leader of the Opposition.
Mr. Speaker, I have to confess, before 48 hours ago, I would have agreed that no government would ever sit on threats of this nature over 2 years long. But unfortunately, what we've learned is that is exactly what this Prime Minister did. Right. The government knew in July of 2021 that an agent acting for the dictatorship in Beijing, accredited to work at the consulate in Toronto, was threatening a family member of a Canadian parliamentarian. And the Prime Minister's government knew about it and did absolutely nothing. Why?
The Right Honourable Prime Minister.
Mr. Speaker, that is simply not true. I spoke with a member for Wellington Halton Hills earlier today, ensured that he got a briefing from our top security officials to ensure that he gets all the information he needs. A core part of CSIS's mandate is to provide briefings and take action whenever a threat exists, and those same top security officials have confirmed that whenever there is action to take, they do so.
The Honourable Leader of the Opposition.
And yet he did absolutely nothing other than to hold a meeting with the MP after the information became public. He wasn't interested in protecting Canadians. He was interested in protecting his political reputation, Mr. Speaker. He has the power to kick this diplomat out. Think of it. If a Canadian had threatened an MP or his family over a vote in the House, that Canadian would be in jail. This individual can't be arrested because of diplomatic immunity granted by this government, something the Prime Minister could take away any time he wants. Why is he keeping this agent in our country threatening our people?
The Right Honourable Prime Minister.
Mr. Speaker, once again, what the member opposite is proposing is actually not the truth. We are actually continuing to work with our security agencies and ensuring that whenever threats are arisen against Canadians, those security agencies take action, offer briefings, offer support, offer information as necessary and as appropriate every step of the way. That's what our security agencies do to keep Canadians safe, and to suggest that anyone in this House would see a threat to a colleague and simply sit on it is unworthy of parliamentarians.
The Honourable Member for Belly-Chambly. Well, I have to admit, Mr. Speaker, that I don't see what is not true in the questions asked by the Leader of the Official Opposition. So I support the questions that has been asked here today so far.